Okay, everyone, welcome to the team call from our guest tonight is Kel Thumbsters, and it's just an honor to have you on this team call tonight. And it's funny, it's my brother, Chris. Um, if you're not following his YouTube channel, you should subscribe because his YouTube channel is amazing. And he's a very successful beachbody coach, and he'll be talking about sharing his story, how to brand his business. So, Skill, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for having me here, guys. You're going to have to work with me. I'm on satellite internet up in the mountains up here in Pennsylvania, so there's a terrible lag. So if there's like questions or whatever, just type them into the chat box and I'll do my best to get into them. Try not to ask them live because there's a really bad delay and it won't go well. So just type them in the chat box, but I'll get started here. I usually do an hour-long call, but we're kind of limited, so I'll kind of move quickly. But a little bit more about me. I'm Caleb Thomas. I'm the YouTube guy. I got my start back in college with P90X. I saw an infomercial on YouTube. I got the program illegally through. I was one of those guys. Don't give up on them. I met the guy in the gas station parking lot, and I just changed my life overnight. I made the decision to start P90X, and everything changed. My grades got better. My music making got better because I was a music major at Penn State University. Penn State, woo woo! And 3 years went by after I got my results. That this guy that was my coach, who I signed up for. I signed up with this guy because he was offering free Shakeology samples. He was begging me to become a coach for 3 years. And for 3 years, I said, no, I want nothing to do with your pyramid scheme. I want nothing to do with your scam. I want nothing to do with your slimy sales. I want nothing to do with any of that crap. And I had no idea what I was missing out on. I even pulled out this excuse on him. I said, no, I'm sorry, Will. I can't be a part of something like that. I'm a Christian. Really? Really? That's what I said. I'm going to own it now because it makes for a really good story, but it's true. At first, I had no clue what I was talking about. I was completely clueless as to how badly I needed Beachbody in my life because it really truly is one of the most incredible things. Ever since I became a Beachbody coach, my life has changed. My faith has grown. My time freedom has dramatically grown. I'm a full-time coach. This is my life. I'm at the cabin right now with my beautiful puppy, Sheila, and we have it made. I mean, honestly, it's truly a blessing. But when I became a coach, that kind of leads us perfectly into what we're going to talk about tonight. When I became a coach, I realized that I could be Caleb. I could just simply be a uniformed working at a restaurant, table bus boy, waiter. I wasn't a contractor, so I wasn't getting yelled at by this guy up the street I worked with about, general contracting. Actually, he was really good to work with, but the work job site's really hard for any of you that's worked on contracting jobs. I wasn't going into the military, which I thought I was going to do. Wasn't trying to fit into that little slot. I wasn't fitting into piloting because I got my pilot's license. I didn't have to conform to anything specific. I didn't have to conform to the rules and the boundaries that other people set because I was independent. I was an independent team Beachbody coach, and I could just own it and call that my brand and thrive because of it. And that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about creating a brand for yourself to ultimately attract people to you. I mean, who doesn't want to be attractive, right? That was bad. There we go. I'm super excited to talk about this because, it only took 3 years for me to get this. It didn't take that long, but it took me a long time to figure this out. But I recently just sort of realized that how this works, or how I believe it works. And it's so simple. It's so simple. So I'm hopefully going to give you a couple nuggets tonight that we can talk about that will help you understand this whole concept of branding. And if not, help you develop your brand right now, it'll at least give you things developing your brand. So we're going to ask some questions, and then we'll answer those questions. What is branding? Really simple. What is branding? What does that even mean? I mean, we always hear people talking about branding yourself or finding your niche in the business or making this business your own or standing out from the crowd or being unique. That's a really popular one. Like, oh, you just got to be unique. You got to be unique. Or I've heard people say leaving your mark or, leaving an impact, whatever you want to call it. Those are all great, but I don't think they really represent branding the way that I believe branding is. Branding is so much more simple. It's so much less vague. Branding, in my definition, is you being you and then calling that your brand. I believe very strongly that God designed us with the perfect package to be the perfect brand already. And I'm going to touch on that a couple times in this call. I know you're thinking, you're probably like, what? That's so simple. Are you serious? You're doing a whole call on you being you? Yes, I am, because it's so important. And I think so many times we overcomplicate this business and we overcomplicate our roles in this business. We just need to be ourselves and we'll thrive because of that. So why is branding even important? Like, why are we even thinking about this? Here's what it comes down to. Here's the main point of this. The leaders of this business, the Joshes, the Calebs, the Lindsay Matways, the Scotty Hobbs, the blah, 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 whoever you want to follow, the leaders of this business, or honestly any other business out there, they are constantly taking the time to think about what makes them unique and what makes them stand out and what makes them special and what makes them desirable, what makes them attractive, and all these things I'm saying in humble terms. You know my heart well enough, hopefully, if you've been following me, to know that I'm not a boastful or like arrogant jerk. I'm talking on humble terms. What makes us attractive? What makes us desirable? What makes us magnetic? Okay, what draws people to us? They're thinking about those things, the leaders of any business, and that's why they think about their brand. And because they have their brands established, they attract people to them. It's like Ford attracting people that want to drive Fords and Hondas attracting people that want to drive Hondas. It makes sense. But for some reason, as coaches, we don't think about that as much. We don't think that those rules of human nature being attracted to certain things applies to coaches, so we don't think about brands. And that's a huge mistake. That's a huge mistake. Everyone understands the concept when it comes to cars, but we as coaches need to create a brand so that people that want what we specifically have to offer, they know exactly who to go to because you are a walking billboard of your brand, okay? Check this out. There is over 7 billion people on Earth, and that blows my mind. I think there's 7.26 billion people or something like that. And I believe very strongly, I'm a man of faith, I believe that God created every single one of those people totally differently. That's insane. Every single one of those 7 billion people is different. It's hard to fathom. And here's my little badumch. I can barely come up with 2 recipes for chocolate Shakeology, okay? And God can come up with 7 billion plus recipes for human beings. That's incredible. And if you have faith in that, if you believe that, you have a brand because you're unique. I just said every single one of those people is different from one another, which automatically makes you stand out from everybody else because nobody else is like you. That's an amazing, amazing, amazing fact in my book, in my heart. I believe that I am totally different from every single other human being on this planet. And I can own that, especially in a business like this. I can capitalize on what makes me special and what makes me me. Okay? It's important to think about this. It's important for you to think about this because you have unique things to offer. Whether you believe it right now on this call or not, you do. You're important. Somebody out there in this world needs something that only you have. I want you to sit on that little nugget for a second, okay? So, next question. What are examples of brands? Are you guys still with me? Can you hear me on the internet? Is it okay? Okay, cool. Awesome. Super awkward lag. I was like, is anyone there? Are you guys still listening? And you're like, that was funny. Okay, going back here. Next question. What are some examples of brands? So like, so we know why brands are important now. Let's actually like take a case study here. Simple exercise here. Take a look at your life and ask yourself what makes your life your life. That's your brand. Those things are your brand. Maybe you have a dog with a crazy personality. Maybe you're a Christian and you like sharing your faith with the world. Maybe you're a pilot and you fly helicopters and plane with this crazy little opportunity called Team Beachbody, so that you can use that financial freedom as a tool to live a life of abundant giving. Maybe you like escaping into the woods and the mountains. Maybe you love making inspiring YouTube videos in the basement of your house where there's a water heater that turns on in the middle of your filming sessions and you have to stop because it's really loud and annoying and it would interfere with the video. Hopefully you recognize some of these little things, because that's me. That's my brand. Hello, I'm Caleb Thomas. That's my brand. The things you see me doing each and every day on my Facebook, that's me. Things you see me doing in my YouTube videos, that's me. That's my heart. That's who I am. And what you see is how I'm putting my stamp on the world just by being me. It's so ridiculously simple. And I know there's someone else out there might be a pilot. Someone else out there might make YouTube videos that are inspiring. Somebody else out there might have a dog or be a Christian or whatever. But that's not the point. We're not comparing ourselves to other people here. We're owning ourselves. We're owning the beautiful, amazing, complicated, complex, perfect combination of human that we are, that nobody else is. And I want to bring up an analogy that I love sharing. So who's ever seen me do my lock analogy? Has anyone seen this? No? Okay, awesome. So this is just a regular combination lock. You guys have all seen these. It's just, a lock. It has 4 dials on it, and the dials each have numbers on them. And the numbers go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you know how these work. You line the numbers up with the red line, and then the lock unlocks. Now, I want to take a step back. When I was telling you the numbers on those dials, did you notice any special number or any special, magical thing you've never heard before? Like he said 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Zorf. That I've never heard that number before. Zorf. What was that? That's why that lock works. That's why that lock unlocks. And that's what we do as humans. We're like, oh, if I just had that bright blonde hair, or if I just had that YouTube video talent, or if I just had that, if I just had that one thing that made me stand out, I would be so amazing as a coach and I could be successful. But I don't have that one thing, so I guess I can't unlock this lock. It doesn't work. That's so crap. That's so not true. So not true, because you're missing how the combination lock works. It's not the magical number lock. It's the combination lock. And this represents us, okay? This lock represents us. And these dials, the numbers that you see on these dials, the very normal, generic numbers that you've heard before over and over and over and over again, they represent the little things that make us us. Number 1 represents dog owner. Number 2 represents YouTube maker. Number 3 represents single mom. Number 4 represents married and blissfully happy. Number 6 represents you like to knit. Number 7, okay? You've heard of all these numbers before. There's nothing special about any of these numbers. But the cool thing is, what is special is your combination. Nobody else in the world has your combination. And when you put your combination into your lock, it works. Does everyone get that analogy? Thumbs up. So the problem with this analogy, though, the problem is people look at my lock and they're like, oh, I see Caleb's combination. I'm going to take his combination and make it work for me. And they're like, okay, number 1, number 4, number 3, number 7. And they put it in there and their lock doesn't work. And they're like, what? I don't get what's going on here. Why isn't my lock working? It's because it's not your combination. Don't make the mistake of seeing other people and copying what they do verbatim, because that is not unapologetically you. You are unapologetically copying somebody else, and that's just not you. Yes, please feel free to use the lock analogy with your students at your next chapel. That'd be awesome. You guys need to own who you are and put it into your combination, and like take this big part of you and 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 this big part of you, and stick it all together into your combination and spoon feed it to the world every single day. And here's the cool thing. When you do that over and over and over and over and over and over, as boring as it gets for you, oh my gosh, it's so boring. You do it over and over and over and over and over again, it turns into a brand and people love it. And they're like, can I have another bite of your brand? Can I have just another little taste? It's delicious. I would love to get some more of that. And then they come back to you over and over and over. So now people, they say, who's that YouTube dude? Oh, it's Caleb. Who's that dog owner? It's Caleb. Who's that blah, blah, blah? It's Caleb. Or who's that girl with the blonde hair? It's Lindsay. Who's the Bombshell Dynasty person? It's Lindsay. Who's the dad that stays at home with his kids who used to work at the dentist? It's Scotty Hobbs. Who's, it's any, you can look at any example leader in this business. They've established a brand by telling their story unapologetically over and over and over and over. And it gets boring for them, but it's so powerful for the receiving end, okay? That's what I want to challenge you guys to do that after you get off this call. So hopefully that analogy made sense. Next question. How do I create my brand? This is super simple. This whole call is super simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. Again, branding yourself is as simple as being yourself and living publicly with it, like owning your story, putting it out there, telling the good parts of your life, the bad parts of your life, the parts you think no one's going to care about because somebody out there will. Plain and simple. Like I said, there's over 7 billion people on this earth. Somebody's going to relate to you, okay? Somebody's going to find what you're putting out there attractive. Even if you think nobody's going to want your brand because in your eyes you don't have anything exciting to offer, just remember the sheer number of people we are marketing to as Beachbody coaches. Billions of people on this planet are just looking for someone to follow, are just looking for a story to like buy into, are looking for somebody to inspire them. You could be that person. So put yourself out there. I'm going to get really heavy with you right now. This is one of the big points that I always like making on all my calls for teams. If you decide to leave this call and put aside everything that I've said and walk away from this and not put this concept of branding yourself into action and not follow through with coaching, or maybe even get discouraged down the road and quit coaching or quit being an example for other people or give up on any of this stuff, there's something you need to realize. There is at least one person in your circle of influence that can only be influenced by you. There's a reason we're in a community on a planet with 7 billion people. God designed us very specifically to function together. And there's at least one person that only can thrive through you, that can only connect to you, can only relate to you and your story. And if you make the decision not to invite them, not to tell your story to them, not to put your message out there, not to live as an example, not to do these things that we know we're supposed to be doing as coaches, that person never gets their opportunity. You walk away from this and you think you're better off, but what about that one person in your circle of influence that missed their chance because of your decision? You now have that responsibility, whether you realized it or not. I just told you about it, and it's very, very real, okay? I want you to remember that. Your responsibility as a coach, as a leader, as an inspirer, as a person of faith, as a person of integrity, as a person, as a coach, as a whatever, is very real. Your responsibility exists, and I want you to take it seriously from this point forward, because if you don't, somebody else is affected by it. Somebody else that, even if there was 7 billion other Beachbody coaches on this planet, it wouldn't make a difference. It wouldn't make a difference because they don't relate to anybody but you and your story, and they won't get their opportunity if you give up. So walk away from this call with that in mind, okay? Next thing. That was pretty deep. Sorry. Didn't mean to go all hot and heavy with you. We're going to skip that one because it's not very important. Okay, so we know what a brand is. We know why a brand is important. We know how to develop our brand. And now you're asking me, like, okay, what is my brand, Caleb? Like, what do I need? So just give me an example of what I need to put out. And I'm going to say no, because if it comes from me, it's not from you. If I even suggest things to you, if I even recommend things for you, it's not coming exclusively from your heart, and it needs to come exclusively from you. No filters, no recommendations, no like swayed, like, oh, well, I was going to do this, but Caleb said this, so I can't do that anymore, so I'm going to do this. That's not you. That's not unapologetically you. It has to come from you. So what I want you to do is think about what makes your life your life. Don't filter out anything. If you think it's the most boring, tear-inducingly stupid thing, own it. Own it. That's your story, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Do a mind shift and think differently about what you have to offer as a person right now, okay? And I'm not going to tell you anything other than that. I know that might be discouraging for some of you, but the concept of this call is to get you thinking about all of this. Think about your brand. Develop your brand. Start asking the question every single time it even crosses your mind. Every single time you do something, being unapologetically me. Am I really holding true to the person that I believe I am? Or am I doing what everybody else does because that looks like it's safer, or that looks like where success is? Tell you what, the people that are thriving in this business don't care what other people are doing. I don't give a crap what other people are doing in this business, because I know that's not how I'm successful. I know I'm successful because I am me, okay? I plow my own road. I go my own direction, and it works. I want to challenge you guys to do the same thing. So last couple tips, and then we'll wrap it up and maybe take a question or two at the end. What are some things to just simply remember as we're going away from this call? With your branding, stay consistent. Stay consistent. I mean, think about the companies, Apple or Mercedes or McDonald's or Subway or Southwest Airlines or Beachbody or Weight Watchers or whatever. You know, when you hear these brands, when you hear all those brands I just listed, you know exactly what they are, who they are, what they do, when they do it, why they do it, where they do it, and you can expect them to come through with what they offer because they're consistent. Simple. They're totally consistent. Can you imagine what would happen in our world, in our technologically based world, if Apple one day was like, oh, it's an iPhone. And then the next day they're like, oh, we made cotton candy. And then the next day they're like, oh, we just came out with a brand new furniture line. And then the next day they're like, hey, we're offering insurance plans. You'd be like, what are these people smoking? Like, what's wrong with these people? What is going? I can't give them my business anymore because I have no idea what they're doing. They're just crazy. Okay. So be consistent with what you offer through your brand. Next tip, don't discredit yourself. Seriously, don't discredit yourself. Here's the thing. So when I became a coach, I started making YouTube videos right off the bat. To give you some context, my YouTube channel has close to 20,000 loyal subscribers. It's got 1.5 plus million views. There's a lot of people on my YouTube channel very frequently. It's super humbling. I cannot believe the numbers that I have. But here's the thing. When I first started, I would put my everything into a video. I would pour myself into it. And I'd get like 3 views. And 3 out of those 3 views were my mom. I mean, she was like downstairs watching, oh, he's so wonderful. My son is so good. Like, seriously, I had nobody was watching my videos. I was the only one watching my videos. My mom was the only one watching my videos. But I didn't like discredit myself. I knew I had something to offer. Humbly, I knew I had messages that people needed to hear. I knew I had enough encouragement and motivation and inspiration to share with people. So I just unapologetically put it out there because it was a big part of me. I wanted to serve others. I wanted to provide value. So I did it, and I didn't discredit myself. And it would have been really easy to, and I honestly had moments of doubt because when I first started and you spend hours and hours and hours on a video, and you get 3 views and no interaction whatsoever, it's kind of like, it'd be really easy to discredit yourself. When you develop your brand or when you start putting your brand out, chances are it's going to flop like crazy at first. No one's going to respond to it. No one's going to react to it. You're going to be like, what am I even doing this for? Don't discredit yourself. Your brand is important to somebody out there, okay? Keep going. Keep putting it out there. Be consistent. Tip number 1. Tip number 2. Tip number 3 is be confident. Exude confidence. Just be confident that this works. Like, take my word for it if you have to. If you don't believe it, just take my word for it and come find me at the next summit and punch me in the face if it doesn't work. Okay? I'll take it. I'm tough. Seriously. Like, I want you guys to be confident in this. It's kind of like, who's ever had an Apple product? Who's on an Apple product right now? Yes. Okay. So there's a lot of people that have been impacted by Apple. When Steve Jobs first came out with the iPod, this revolutionary device that was going to revolutionize the music world, the digital music world. Oh my gosh. He was so sold out on this thing. He was so confident that he had the next big thing. When he dropped this thing on the market, it was the biggest flop that had ever happened in that company. You know, they'd been super successful with their computers, and then they dropped this digital music device, and they were expecting to sell millions upon millions of these things, and they sold like 200,000. It was like pathetically bad experience for Apple. Second year, he was confident he had the revolutionary device in his hands. Released the product second year in a row, flop. He was still confident that he had something good. Third year, made changes, developed it a little bit more, got 10 minutes left. Third year, he dropped it on the market, continued to flop. The entire company, because of the system, went downhill. They lost money, okay? Was it. He's like, I am so confident that this is the year it's going to happen, and it did. Fourth year, they made some more changes. They put it on the market again. They updated it again. And now, boom, literally, we are all on this web-based chat, looking at each other, smiling. It's going up into a satellite in space right now, and we're still talking because of that technology that he was so confident in. It ripple affected out into the entire technology world, and we've all been impacted because of that confidence. Can you imagine the ripple effect you could have if you were simply confident in what you had to offer with your brand? If you were simply confident that I'm a coach and I can change some lives here. I mean business, and I can do this, and I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to stay freaking crazy consistent, and I'm going to exude confidence, and I'm going to all these things, people. You have such an amazing opportunity to help so many people. And my prayer for you guys, as we leave this call, I'm going to wrap it up here so we have a couple seconds at the end. I want you guys to just walk away from this call thinking differently about yourself. You know, you must put yourself out there. We got to remember that whole circle of influence thing. And there's like one person out there that only gets you and only connects to you, you've got to do it for them. You've got to do it for them. Okay. Not Caleb, not Michelle Myers or Josh or Scotty Hobbs or Lindsay Matway. You can't put anyone else out there but you. Don't limit yourself in this business because you don't think you have anything to offer. You are such a, oh, I'm getting all sappy. You are such a stunning and unique and beautiful and like magically created human being in all of your perfection and all of your mess. Everything about you, everything in your past has prepared you perfectly for this moment. Everything has formed you into exactly the person you're supposed to be. It's your entire, everything about you. It's made, you've been made into the perfect brand right now. And it'd be a shame, if you didn't make the decision to bless the world with it, just by being yourself. All Beachbody business and branding and attraction marketing and stuff aside, my prayer for you guys is that you see how incredible you are and that you do have something to offer this world, and that you confidently approach everything, your businesses, your marriages, your families, your friends, your kids, your coworkers, your congregations, whatever, everything, the entire world, with the belief that you do have something to offer. You are unique. You can leave an impact on somebody's life, and it's all because of your life. God designed every single one of you with the perfect combination of tools and talents and experiences and passions and skills and gifts to do great things with your time on earth, to have a very specific impact, to be uniquely you. He didn't just, design us to be drone worker bees. He designed us to do something really, really significant. And that's what you guys can do. So just remember that. I love you guys. Thanks so much for listening to me preach. I hope you got some value out of it. And Josh, I'm going to hand it back to you for the rest of the call.
I don't know what to say, man. It was just awesome. And the news a little bit, and it's just amazing. And if anyone has questions to ask Kale, ask him away. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. If you have questions, just type them into the chat box, and I'll answer them. What software do I use to edit my videos? I use a program called Final Cut Pro, Final Cut Pro X. It's basically the professional version of iMovie on Mac. But honestly, everything that I do in my videos, you could do with the free software that comes on your Macs. I just simply chose to use Final Cut Pro because it streamlines a couple functions. It makes it a little bit quicker and faster to edit stuff. But honestly, it's very time consuming, like cutting and splicing, and there's nothing really fancy about my editing. If you just go on YouTube and search a bunch of editing tutorials, you'll find exactly what I do. It's really simple. How long did it take you, or how long did it take for your YouTube video to take off? It took me, well, I'm in my third year of it now. I'm in my third year, and I would say that I had almost no engagement for the first year. So, it's just that being confident that you have something to offer, just going for it. And now, I post a video sometimes and it gets 10,000 views, or it's just, it's crazy. Like, you look at the view counter on Facebook sometimes, it's like 100,000 views. Are you kidding me? Like, I didn't think it was that good. But it's just the power of repetition and branding and like creating a presence. And then it's kind of funny. It's humorous. I'm not saying that I do this, but honestly, I could take a picture of my rear end and post it, and people would like it. They'd be like, "Oh my gosh, it's so funny! Caleb's so great! I love Caleb! Oh my gosh, he posted a picture of his butt!" Like, it adds no value, but for some reason, that momentum is going so strongly that I guess you can get away with things. But I don't try to take advantage of that. Yeah. No, I'm not going to do it.
Any more questions? Every question. Yeah.
Please do. We will all watch it.
Hey, I guess I have one since I made Erica die laughing over there. I'm not like embarrassed or anything. How do you come up with the ideas for your YouTube videos? You just like, do they come sporadically, or do you take time to get them, or how do you do that?
Yeah, so all of my video inspiration comes from my personal development. I am if you know, here's a little bunny trail. If you guys aren't doing personal development, you're missing out on huge potential. You're not fully maximizing your potential as a human if you're not doing personal development. It takes me, I'll read a book and it'll maybe take me like 6 months to get through a book, because I'll read like 2 paragraphs and I'll be like, I gotta share that. And I'll just go type out a video and I'll make a video. And then the next day I'll read like one or 2 more paragraphs and be like, that's such a good nugget. I gotta go make a video. And then so it takes me a long time. But honestly, almost every single video that you see from me comes directly from a personal development book.
Okay, thank you.
It's not. I'll be honest. It's not my thoughts. Yeah, it's not my thoughts. It's just my translation of what I read in my personal development book.
All right, thank you.
How often do I post videos? I try to post. My 2016 goal is to post no less than 2 videos a week. Last year, my goal was to do 5 a week, which was crazy. But you know, you got to work hard. You got to work hard in this business. Were you immediately comfortable in videos, or did you have to push yourself to become so? I'll answer that question simply by telling you to go back to the beginning of my YouTube channel videos and view some of those gems and answer that question for yourself.
We got like 20 seconds left. And if you got more questions for Kale, just ask me in the Facebook group. I'll let him know. And Kale, I just want to thank you for being on this call. What about picture for the team? For the team call picture. All right. 3, smile. 3, 2, 1. Perfect.
All right, guys.
It's fine.
I'll talk to you soon, okay? Love you. Have a good night.
Thanks a lot.